Success isn't loud, it's engineered in quiet moments no one sees. The real game isn't about showing the world your moves. It's about building a version of yourself that no longer needs to prove anything. True power grows behind the scenes, in silence, where focus has no audience and patience becomes a weapon. Unseen success is built in the hours when everyone else stops, when distraction calls and you stay locked in. It's the art of restraint, the discipline to work without noise, and the confidence to let your results speak louder than your presence. Every unseen action is an investment in strength that doesn't fade when attention shifts. This is not about hiding, it's about mastering stillness. It's about becoming the kind of person whose energy speaks before words do. You don't need validation when you know preparation already made you inevitable. The world may not see you building, but it will feel the impact when you arrive. That's the art of unseen success, quiet creation, loud results. Success doesn't need an audience to begin, it only needs intention. The most powerful transformations happen in silence, away from validation, applause, or the noise of comparison. It's in these quiet hours, when no one is watching, that the foundation of greatness is laid brick by brick. What the world sees as overnight success is merely the final unveiling of years spent mastering the unseen. The noise comes later, the building happens now. True power grows in places no spotlight reaches. It forms in the discipline of showing up when motivation fades, in the choice to refine instead of rush. Silence is not emptiness, it's the crucible where purpose and patience meet. In that space, you learn to listen to your intuition, to strengthen your resolve, and to align your actions with something greater than attention. Power doesn't shout. It hums beneath the surface until it's undeniable. Every master was once unseen. Before the world celebrated their craft, they toiled in obscurity, perfecting their timing, sharpening their edge. The silence of preparation is where destiny is shaped. It's where you realize that validation is a distraction and solitude is a privilege. In stillness, you meet yourself without filters, raw, focused, and unbending. That's where real progress begins. Silence strips away the illusion of speed. It teaches you that success isn't about how fast you move, but how intentionally you build. Each quiet effort compounds, invisible to the world but deeply felt within. The silence becomes a forge, burning away impatience, doubt, and fear until all that remains is clarity. When the noise of the world fades, you hear the rhythm of your purpose beating louder than applause. The unseen grind is not glamorous, and that's what makes it sacred. It's the early mornings, the missed parties, the hours spent refining what no one may ever notice. But that's the paradox. What you build in silence becomes impossible to ignore once it's complete. Greatness doesn't chase recognition. It creates results so powerful they command it. There's a calm that comes with knowing you're doing the work even when no one acknowledges it. That calm is confidence. You stop needing to prove your worth through performance because your preparation becomes your identity. Each quiet day spent in mastery stacks upon the next until your presence itself carries weight. That's when silence turns into strength. You learn that silence doesn't mean inaction, it means focused construction. Every repetition, every draft, every unseen effort is an investment in your future authority. The noise will always tempt you. Trends, opinions, shortcuts. But those who endure the quiet build endurance itself. When others chase attention, you cultivate depth. Stillness reveals your truth. In the absence of external voices, you confront your fears, your flaws, and your potential. It's uncomfortable, but growth always is. You stop seeking distraction because you start to recognize the rare power of solitude. In silence, there's no performance, only progress. Power built in silence doesn't need to announce itself when it arrives. It carries an energy that speaks before words do. People feel it before they understand it. It's the quiet confidence of someone who's prepared, who's done the work in private and now moves with certainty. You don't have to prove, your presence becomes proof. The beauty of building in silence is that it frees you from judgment. No one can interrupt a process they can't see. You evolve without interference, experiment without scrutiny, and grow without pressure. Then one day, when the results surface, they seem effortless, but only you know the weight of the unseen hours behind them. The world loves outcomes but rarely respects the process. That's your advantage. While others crave recognition, you train in obscurity, shaping your edge in conditions they avoid. By the time they notice, it's too late. You've already become unshakable. Silent preparation always beats loud ambition. Every time you choose silence over spectacle, you strengthen your foundation. You build patience, self-trust, and discipline, the quiet traits that separate the temporary from the timeless. Loud beginnings often fade, silent ones endure. When your power is built on depth, not display, it cannot be shaken by circumstance. The silence teaches timing. You learn when to move, when to hold back, when to strike. You stop acting out of impulse and start creating with intention. Power without timing is chaos, but silence refines your rhythm. When you finally reveal what you've built, it lands with precision, not luck. Those who build in silence master invisibility. They become unpredictable because no one sees their progress coming. By the time their results appear, they've already evolved beyond the need for approval. That's what makes their success so powerful. It's authentic, not performed. Silence builds integrity. You're not doing it for applause, so your work becomes pure. Each effort is honest, unfiltered by ego or expectation. You start valuing progress more than praise, substance more than style. That's when your results begin to echo louder than any performance ever could. When you work in silence, setbacks don't become public stories, they become private lessons. You fail, learn, adjust, and continue without external noise clouding your focus. Over time, this cycle turns you into something rare, consistent. The world may celebrate talent, but it bows to consistency. Silence refines character. It tests your patience, your belief, your endurance. You learn that true success isn't about being seen, it's about being solid. Fame fades, but foundation endures. The unseen grind molds you into someone who doesn't crumble under visibility because the roots were grown underground. The ones who rise the highest are those who once sat in silence the longest. They didn't skip the quiet chapters, they embraced them. They understood that greatness requires incubation. The noise of the crowd can't guide you where purpose intends to lead you. Silence becomes your sanctuary, not your prison. And when your moment comes, it doesn't feel like arrival, it feels like continuation. Because what's revealed was already built long ago. The power the world finally sees is simply the reflection of all the quiet strength forged behind closed doors. The applause may fade, but the discipline remains. To build in silence is to trust yourself completely. It's the courage to walk unseen while believing in the inevitability of your rise. When you master that art, your success becomes different. It's not loud, not desperate, not fleeting. It's grounded, calm, and powerful. Built in silence, revealed in power, every lasting victory begins long before it is seen. There is a pattern beneath every success story, an invisible architecture made of intention, patience, and precision. The quiet blueprint isn't written on paper, it's etched in the mind of the one who refuses to rush. When others are distracted by outcomes, the silent architect focuses on structure, crafting the unseen design that holds everything together. A blueprint is not glamorous, it's meticulous. It demands revision, correction, and foresight. You must see the entire map before taking your first step. Success without a plan is noise without rhythm. It might sound loud, but it doesn't last. The quiet ones win because they build with purpose, guided by an inner clarity that doesn't need confirmation from the outside world. In silence, you can see the gaps others overlook. You notice the cracks that ambition tries to hide. The quiet blueprint teaches you not to move fast, but to move right. It reminds you that direction is more valuable than speed, and patience is the hidden engine behind mastery. Greatness doesn't arrive from chaos, it's designed. The foundation of every unseen success is alignment. You can't build power on confusion or inconsistency. The silent builder takes time to define why they're building, not just what. Purpose becomes the framework, and discipline becomes the cement. Each action, no matter how small, fits perfectly into the grand design of what's coming. Noise is reactive. Silence is strategic. When you're quiet, you can observe the world without being influenced by it. You see how people rush, copy, and chase trends, while you refine your structure in peace. The blueprint grows stronger in solitude because clarity has no competition there. There's an elegance in mapping your future quietly. You stop trying to impress and start trying to understand. You outline not only your goals, but your principles, the non-negotiables that hold your empire together when storms arrive. The quiet blueprint isn't just about success. It's about building something that endures. Every win you'll ever have begins with a private conversation between your ambition and your discipline. You dream, then dissect. You design, then decide. Each layer of your plan must serve a deeper vision. Those who skip the blueprint end up rebuilding what they rushed. Silence saves you from that cycle. In the blueprint phase, failure becomes feedback, not defeat. Every misstep teaches you about structure. You learn which foundations crack under pressure and which withstand time. It's in this quiet testing that your future becomes unbreakable. The louder the world gets, the more your calm precision separates you. The quiet blueprint demands patience that most people can't sustain. It's hard to explain why you're moving slowly when everyone else is sprinting. But slow doesn't mean stagnant, it means deliberate. You're laying stones that will not shift once the weight of success arrives. When you plan in silence, you learn to see the invisible connections between effort and outcome. You realize how one disciplined habit supports another, how small routines create massive change. This awareness becomes your secret advantage. While others chase momentum, you build structure. A blueprint without noise is pure. It's untouched by insecurity or comparison. You're not designing to impress, you're designing to endure. The greatest systems, businesses, and lives were crafted in obscurity by people who valued precision over popularity. In silence, you start to see time differently. You stop racing against it and start working with it. Every day becomes a building block. Every effort, a piece of the plan. The blueprint teaches you to measure progress in quiet victories, clarity, consistency, control rather than in likes, applause, or validation. The power of the quiet blueprint is that it prepares you for longevity. It's not just about achieving success, it's about sustaining it. Loud victories often crumble because they're built on shaky frameworks. Quiet ones endure because they were designed with care. You can't fake structure, you can't skip design. What you don't plan for will eventually expose you. The silent builder knows this, which is why they value unseen preparation more than visible celebration. They understand that precision today prevents collapse tomorrow. The quiet blueprint also protects you from distraction. When you know your design, you stop chasing everything that shines. You filter opportunities through intention. Not every door deserves to be opened, and not every offer aligns with your architecture. Silence helps you see that difference. Planning in silence gives you ownership of your destiny. You no longer rely on others to direct you because you've already drawn your path. The noise outside becomes irrelevant when the vision inside is clear. The blueprint becomes your compass, steadying you when chaos tries to mislead. There's power in subtlety. The quiet architect doesn't announce each step. They let the structure reveal itself when complete. The same people who doubted your stillness will one day study your system, trying to decode how you did it. But the secret will always remain. You built it in silence. Your blueprint is your promise to yourself. It's the commitment that even if no one believes in your process, you'll keep constructing until your reality catches up with your vision. The walls may rise slowly, but they'll never fall, because what's rooted in discipline can't be undone by doubt. The quiet blueprint behind every win is not just about success. It's about sovereignty. It's about owning your path, your rhythm, and your outcome. The noise fades, the attention shifts, but structure stays. The world will only see the results. You'll always know the design. And when you finally stand in your moment of victory, it won't feel like a surprise. It will feel inevitable, because every line, every plan, every silent decision led you there. You built it piece by piece, not for the world's attention, but for your own evolution. That is the quiet blueprint behind every win. There comes a point when waiting for approval becomes the very thing that holds you back. The world is full of people waiting for signs, validation, or a green light that may never come. Precision is about moving anyway, calmly, deliberately, with an inner knowing that your direction is right. Permission keeps you frozen in uncertainty. Precision keeps you in motion with purpose. Every master learns that confidence isn't built by asking, it's built by doing. Those who move with precision trust their preparation. They don't rush, but they don't hesitate either. They've learned that clarity is earned through consistent effort, not through external affirmation. You move, not because someone said you could, but because you've already proven to yourself that you can. Precision is not speed, it's accuracy. It's the discipline to do fewer things, but do them well. Each action becomes intentional, stripped of noise and impulsiveness. When you act with precision, you conserve energy, focus your attention, and strike where it matters most. This is how silent builders separate themselves. They don't move often, but when they do, the world feels it. Waiting for permission is a habit of the uncertain. It's a mindset built on fear of rejection and dependence on recognition. But the moment you stop seeking approval, your power multiplies. You start realizing that authority is not granted, it's claimed. The quiet achiever operates with self-issued validation, building momentum from self-belief instead of external praise. To move with precision, you must understand your rhythm. You stop comparing your timing to others and begin mastering your own pace. Some days demand rapid execution, others demand stillness. Precision lies in knowing which is which. You stop chasing trends and start following alignment. Every move becomes a step toward purpose, not performance. When you no longer seek permission, your energy shifts. You stop announcing your plans and start executing them. You build silently until your results speak for you. This doesn't come from arrogance, it comes from self-trust. You've tested your abilities in the unseen hours, and now you move with quiet certainty, not to impress but to express your mastery. Precision is born from observation. Those who move wisely are those who first listen, study, and understand. They don't waste words or motion. They conserve their effort until it matters most. Silence becomes their teacher, and patience becomes their ally. When the moment arrives, their action lands with force, not because it's loud, but because it's perfectly placed. The ones who wait for permission often underestimate themselves. They assume someone else knows better or has the authority to define their limits. But precision reminds you that no one can grant you access to your own destiny. Your instinct, your preparation, and your focus are the only approval you need. Every precise move is the result of clarity built over time. You learn to recognize when to act and when to hold back. Impulse fades and awareness sharpens. You stop asking, "Am I ready?" and start realizing that readiness is built through repetition, not reassurance. The moment you trust your own process, permission loses its power. To act without permission is not rebellion, it's responsibility. It's taking ownership of your vision instead of outsourcing your potential. The more you act on your intuition, the stronger it becomes. Precision is not random. It's a rhythm that emerges from confidence earned in solitude. When you move with precision, you also move with calm. Chaos can't control someone who knows exactly where they're going. You stop reacting to distractions and start responding to strategy. Each step is deliberate, quiet, and unstoppable. People may not understand your pace, but they'll respect your accuracy. Permission seekers often chase validation. Precision seekers chase mastery. The difference is subtle but life-changing. One needs applause to feel progress, while the other finds progress in alignment. The precision-driven person doesn't need to prove, they need to perform, and that performance is built on preparation too deep for the world to see. You can only move with precision once you've silenced the noise of doubt. That silence isn't empty, it's filled with focus. Every hesitation, every delay caused by fear becomes fuel for your discipline. The less you depend on others to validate your direction, the more unstoppable you become in executing it. Moving with precision doesn't mean being emotionless, it means being emotionally controlled. You use your emotions as signals, not steering wheels. You channel frustration into focus, doubt into detail, and uncertainty into movement. It's how quiet achievers turn internal chaos into external clarity. Those who wait for permission eventually watch opportunities pass by. The world doesn't stop to applaud potential, it rewards execution. When you act with precision, you create momentum that no opinion can interrupt. You stop living on standby and start operating in command. Precision requires preparation that's invisible to most. Every choice is calculated, every action deliberate. You study, refine, and anticipate. This level of focus builds an internal GPS, one that doesn't require applause, advice, or permission to function. The path becomes instinctive, the movement automatic. The beauty of moving with precision is that it feels effortless to those who watch, but it's the result of countless quiet refinements. Each small improvement compounds into mastery. By the time you reveal your work, it's so aligned and efficient that it looks like perfection because you built it in silence. Permission is temporary power. Precision is permanent control. When you wait to be told, you surrender your momentum. When you move precisely, you take ownership of your trajectory. This doesn't mean rushing, it means moving with intention, backed by clarity that others may not yet understand. At some point, you stop asking, "Can I?" and start declaring, "I will." That's the shift from hesitation to precision. You stop apologizing for your ambition and start embodying it. The world may not be ready for your moves, but you are. You've prepared for this in the quiet, sharpened yourself in the unseen, and now you act, not with permission, but with purpose. Precision is the ultimate power. It's not about noise or rebellion, it's about mastery. You no longer seek approval because you've already earned authority within yourself. Each move is intentional, each step unshakable. You don't need the world to agree, you just need to move. Because precision, not permission, defines the ones who lead in silence. In a world addicted to speed, patience becomes a weapon. Everyone wants instant recognition, instant results, instant relief. But true mastery requires you to slow down and see what others rush past. Patience isn't passive. It's precision in motion. It's the decision to wait strategically, not lazily, until the right moment reveals itself. The strongest players are those who can hold still while others panic. Patience separates impulsive moves from intelligent ones. When you're patient, you're not waiting for opportunity, you're preparing for it. Every second of restraint builds your control. Every delay sharpens your focus. The impatient chase momentum, the patient create it. You become unstoppable when you realize that waiting is not weakness, but timing in disguise. The sharpest minds know that success unfolds in seasons. There's a time to plant, a time to nurture, and a time to harvest. Impatience tries to skip steps and ends up with shallow roots. But patience digs deep, anchoring you so solidly that no failure can uproot your progress. You don't just grow fast, you grow permanent. Patience is discipline wearing the cloak of calm. It's not about doing nothing. It's about doing what's necessary, consistently, without demanding immediate payoff. Each quiet effort accumulates value beneath the surface. The world sees nothing, but you feel the shift. Then one day, that hidden compound interest of effort explodes into results that can't be ignored. Those who master patience become masters of power. They move like chess players, thinking 10 moves ahead, never rushing into the obvious. They're not seduced by speed because they understand the difference between movement and progress. Patience gives you perspective. It lets you see the whole board while everyone else is fixated on their next turn. The impatient crave noise. The patient listen. They watch, observe, and collect data, while others waste energy trying to prove something. In silence, they gather clarity. Every decision becomes a calculated strike, not a desperate reaction. Patience gives you the rare ability to anticipate instead of chase. Patience also builds resilience. When you no longer expect instant outcomes, you stop being shaken by delays. You learn that slow progress is still progress. Every challenge becomes part of the design, not a disruption. You start trusting the process more than the timeline. That trust becomes the armor that impatience will never know. There's power in stillness because it makes you unpredictable. People can't read what you're planning when you're calm under pressure. They expect urgency and get strategy instead. The patient builder becomes a mystery. Their silence is mistaken for inactivity, but behind it lies focus too deep to measure. Patience transforms struggle into strength. The longer you endure, the sharper your endurance becomes. You learn that frustration is temporary, but mastery is eternal. Every moment you hold your ground while the world rushes past is another brick laid in your foundation. That quiet persistence is what the impatient will call luck later. When you operate with patience, timing becomes your ally. You strike when the odds align, not when emotion demands it. The result is precision that feels effortless but was years in the making. To outsiders, it looks like you never miss. In truth, you simply waited until the target was clear. Patience humbles the ego. It forces you to accept that progress doesn't always look impressive. Sometimes the most powerful work happens beneath the surface, invisible even to you. The ego wants to be seen. Patience wants to be solid. When you choose the latter, your growth stops being loud and starts becoming legendary. The impatient are slaves to reaction. The patient become masters of momentum. When everyone else is busy doing more, you focus on doing better. Patience filters out distractions and illusions, leaving only what matters. It turns chaos into clarity and delay into design. That's why patience is not softness, it's strategy refined. Patience also demands faith in unseen progress. You won't always have proof that it's working, but that's where belief steps in. You keep showing up because you trust the law of accumulation. The work you do today may not echo tomorrow, but one day it will roar. To be patient in an impatient world is to be powerful beyond measure. You stand still while others burn out. You play the long game in a culture obsessed with shortcuts, and because of that, your results outlast trends, noise, and imitation. The quiet ones win because they outweigh everyone else. Patience trains your emotions to serve you, not sabotage you. It teaches you to respond instead of react, to think instead of panic. This emotional stability becomes your superpower. You start to notice how impatience destroys focus, while patience sharpens it. Every moment of calm becomes a weapon of precision. There's a rhythm in patience that aligns with success. Every breakthrough has its own tempo, and you can't rush music without ruining the melody. Patience keeps your actions in harmony with timing. You move when it's time to move, not because the world tells you to. That's how excellence feels effortless. It's perfectly timed. Patience is also freedom. When you stop rushing, you stop fearing delay. You begin to see time as a partner, not an enemy. The more patient you become, the more powerful your choices get. You're no longer reactive to pressure. You're selective about when and how you move. The impatient may look like they're winning early, but patience always wins in the end. Because what's built slowly lasts longer. The ones who mastered the wait end up ruling the ones who couldn't. You realize that the real race isn't about who finishes first. It's about who finishes unbroken. In patience, there is peace. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer rush, you align. You start moving through life like someone who already knows the outcome, because deep down, you do. You understand that every delay is a test of your faith, and every pause is preparation for something greater. When the moment finally comes, the patient don't panic, they perform. They've been ready long before the world was watching. Their moves are calm, sharp, and decisive. That's why patience isn't just a virtue, it's the sharpest strategy there is. Because those who wait wisely never lose. They simply choose when to win. Every great achievement carries a hidden story. The long, silent grind behind the spotlight. What people applaud is the surface. The visible tip of an iceberg forged through unseen effort. The weight of the work no one sees is the truest measure of greatness. It's the hours of struggle, doubt, and persistence that never make it to the headlines, but define the outcome entirely. Behind every effortless performance lies 1,000 unseen repetitions. The world claps for the final act, but the mastery was born in solitude, where no eyes watched and no praise was promised. Those who commit to the unseen labor understand something powerful. Results are just echoes of the work done in silence. The unseen grind is heavy because it lacks validation. It demands self-belief when no one's watching, motivation when no one's clapping, and discipline when no one's checking. This invisible labor tests your patience and your purpose. It's the invisible load that separates those who wish from those who build. To carry the unseen work is to shoulder the burden of consistency. It's waking up when you could rest, pushing through when you could stop, choosing to refine when no one would notice if you didn't. You do it because you've made a silent promise to yourself to become undeniable, not visible. The quiet worker lives in a world of delayed gratification. They understand that applause comes last and effort comes first. They're sculpting something sacred out of time and repetition, trusting that their investment will one day speak louder than their presence. The unseen hours become their legacy. The weight is real, it's mental, emotional, and physical. The unseen work drains energy that recognition can't replenish. But that's the point. It's a private battle that shapes character more than results. Those who survive the grind without attention emerge with a strength that no spotlight can imitate. Carrying unseen weight teaches humility. You stop expecting acknowledgement and start valuing progress. The ego fades as purpose rises. Each moment of invisible effort strengthens your foundation until you no longer need external proof. You already know your worth through the work you've endured. The unseen labor is where mastery is forged. It's in the failed drafts, the endless revisions, the repetitions that seem meaningless in the moment but build momentum over time. The true craftsman understands this rhythm. They measure success not by visibility, but by improvement. When no one sees you working, the only voice left is your own. That's where discipline either breaks or becomes unshakable. The quiet hours test your relationship with yourself, your willpower, your focus, your resilience. Those who embrace this weight stop chasing motivation and start embodying consistency. The unseen grind also purifies intention. If no one's watching, you have no reason to fake it. Every effort becomes genuine. Every action rooted in purpose rather than performance. This purity of intent gives your work a kind of power that cannot be replicated by those who only show up for attention. The heaviest part of unseen work isn't effort, it's uncertainty. You don't know when the results will come, or if they'll come at all. Yet you keep showing up. That decision to persist without proof is the core of greatness. It's where faith in yourself becomes stronger than fear of failure. Those who carry the invisible workload learn to trust time. They know progress is rarely loud. It whispers through small victories, quiet growth, and the slow sharpening of skill. You stop asking, when will it show? And start realizing it's already happening. Every day adds unseen strength. The weight you bear alone gives you something precious, unshakable confidence. Not the loud kind that craves validation, but the quiet kind that can't be broken. Because once you've endured in silence, public challenges feel light. You've already fought harder battles that no one ever witnessed. Unseen effort builds invisible power. It's the kind of strength that radiates without announcement. People can feel it when you walk in a grounded energy that says, "I've earned this." That authority can't be faked because it was paid for in hours no one else saw. The hidden work also protects you from arrogance. You remember every step it took to get here, the failures, the doubts, the persistence. The spotlight becomes less about ego and more about evidence. You don't need to prove anything because you've already lived the proof. The unseen labor transforms you more than the achievement itself. You realize the process wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Every repetition, every quiet day built muscles you didn't know you needed. You didn't just create success, you became capable of sustaining it. Carrying unseen weight is lonely at times, but that solitude becomes sacred. It's where clarity grows, where your connection to purpose strengthens. You learn to love the process because it belongs entirely to you, untouched by opinions, uncorrupted by applause. The world notices. The results surface. People call it talent or luck, but you know better. What they see is the reflection of everything you endured when no one believed. The unseen work was never wasted. It was simply waiting for its moment to be revealed. The beauty of unseen labor is that it builds something deeper than success. It builds character. You become someone who doesn't need recognition to feel fulfilled. The satisfaction shifts from being seen to knowing you've earned everything through perseverance, grit, and faith in your unseen grind. The weight of work no one sees is the heaviest burden, but also the most rewarding. It molds you quietly, shaping your patience, sharpening your will, and fortifying your vision. When the results finally rise into the light, they stand unshakable because they were built in silence, under the weight only you could carry. Real power doesn't announce itself, it acts. The most transformative moves happen in silence, away from validation, away from the crowd. Unheard moves are the heartbeat of unseen success. They are the subtle shifts, the hidden actions, the disciplined decisions that the world overlooks until they redefine what's possible. The loud chase attention, the quiet rewrite reality. Every great strategist knows that noise exposes weakness. When you talk too much about what you're doing, you give away your advantage. But when you move in silence, your intentions stay pure and your actions stay sharp. You learn to let curiosity work for you while others speculate. You execute. Unheard moves come from those who trust their timing. They don't need the reassurance of applause before they act. They're already certain. The confidence doesn't come from hype. It comes from preparation. When you're quietly ready, you don't chase opportunity, you attract it. There's an elegance in subtlety. Silent execution leaves no trail, no hint, no warning. The moment you reveal what you've built, it's already too late for others to catch up. That's the beauty of moving unheard. You're invisible until you're inevitable. Silence is a shield for precision. The fewer people who know your next step, the fewer chances there are for interference. You don't seek validation because your results will validate themselves. You learn to find pride, not in recognition, but in accuracy. Every quiet move becomes a calculated strike towards something greater. The unseen operators are never rushed. They don't move to impress. They move to impact. Each decision is crafted with patience. Each action refined through repetition. They know that noise fades quickly, but results endure. To move unheard is to master control over your impulses, your timing, and your environment. The world often mistakes silence for weakness, but that's what makes it powerful. While others underestimate you, you're already advancing. There's freedom in being unnoticed. It gives you space to experiment, fail, and refine without judgment. Then, when you emerge, your work feels like a sudden eruption, but in truth, it's been building for years. Unheard moves require restraint. You have to resist the urge to announce progress, to prove that you're doing something. But true progress doesn't need an audience. It needs consistency. You keep showing up, stacking quiet victories until the sum of your discipline becomes undeniable. Those who move in silence develop an internal compass. They stop relying on trends or opinions to direct their path. They listen inwardly, guided by clarity earned through experience. Their intuition becomes razor-sharp, tuned through solitude and self-awareness. They don't guess, they know. Unheard moves thrive in unpredictability. When people can't read you, they can't limit you. You stop being reactive and start being strategic. Every decision carries purpose. Every silence hides momentum. You become the calm storm that no one saw forming until it reshapes the landscape. Moving unheard teaches you patience. It reminds you that not every action deserves attention, and not every victory needs to be displayed. Some wins are meant to stay private proof of your growth, not fuel for your ego. Those are the victories that last, the ones that strengthen you from the inside out. The secret behind unmatched results lies in invisible preparation. What others call luck is just the visible moment when relentless, private effort meets opportunity. You can't fake that alignment. It's earned in hours the world will never see, through sacrifices no one will ever thank you for. When your focus turns inward, you become untouchable. You stop performing and start perfecting. Silence gives you space to refine without distraction, to rebuild without judgment. You emerge not louder, but stronger your work, speaking the language of excellence without needing a voice. The discipline of unheard movement builds emotional armor. You stop craving recognition, and that detachment makes you dangerous in the best way. No criticism can shake you. No praise can control you. You operate on your own terms, unbothered by noise, unmoved by doubt. Each unheard move compounds over time. They build layers of skill, confidence, and precision, until the results appear unstoppable. To outsiders, it looks sudden, effortless, but only you know the weight of every quiet step that led there. Silence is not your absence. It's your evolution in progress. Those who move unheard know the value of surprise. Their success lands without warning because their process was never public. They don't seek to impress during the journey. They let the destination do that. The less they say, the more their work speaks when it's finally revealed. Unheard moves demand courage. It takes strength to trust yourself when no one is watching, to keep working when no one is encouraging. But that's where self-belief is forged, where you stop needing external motivation and start generating internal power. There's an unmatched peace in silent execution. You're no longer distracted by competition because you've turned inward, focusing only on your lane. The noise of others becomes background static, irrelevant to your mission. Every action is deliberate, every step aligned with purpose. And when the results finally surface, they carry the weight of everything that came before them. People call it genius, but it's really endurance disguised as talent. You moved unheard, unshaken, unseen, and now your results echo louder than any words ever could. Unheard moves create unmatched results because they're rooted in authenticity. No shortcuts, no performance, just pure, disciplined creation. You didn't need attention to stay consistent, and that's why your work now commands it naturally. Silence was your seed. Excellence became your harvest. The world finally hears what you built in quiet, and it speaks volumes. Before every surge of progress, there's a pause, a quiet tension that feels like nothing is happening when, in truth, everything is aligning. Stillness isn't the absence of motion. It's the preparation for precise motion. It's that breath before the leap, the calm before the eruption of clarity. The world may see inactivity, but inside, the storm is gathering strength. Stillness is where power matures. The impatient rush to act, mistaking speed for success. The wise remain still, trusting timing over impulse. They understand that the soil must rest before it blooms, that silence is the final test before expansion. It's in this waiting that your vision refines and your next move sharpens to perfection. Breakthroughs rarely announce themselves. They grow quietly beneath layers of doubt and delay. The still moments, the ones that feel endless, are actually forging endurance. They're carving out the space your future needs to breathe. What feels like stagnation is often just incubation. To embrace stillness is to trust your process more than your pace. It's learning to let time sculpt your craft. When nothing seems to move, your discipline becomes your compass. Every day you hold your ground, you prove that consistency is stronger than chaos. You're building pressure beneath the surface that will one day burst into greatness. In stillness, you face yourself without distractions. No noise, no applause, just you and your inner voice. That silence can be intimidating because it reveals everything you've ignored. But that's where transformation starts. You can't rebuild in noise. Clarity only comes in quiet. Stillness refines your perception. You start noticing the details that rush would have blurred. You see patterns, timing, and opportunities others miss because they're moving too fast. The pause gives you precision. It's not wasted time, it's wisdom taking shape. There's a sacred patience in the moments before breakthrough. You sense that something is forming, but you can't force it. The lesson is in restraint. You learn that preparation has its own rhythm, that not every season is about output, some are about alignment. The world will test your calm before rewarding your consistency. People will doubt your stillness because they can't see your foundation. But those who move only when it's time never waste effort. Stillness is not delay. It's the discipline to wait until your move becomes undeniable. Breakthroughs happen to those who don't panic in the pause. They hold faith when the silence stretches long. They understand that growth is invisible before it's explosive. The roots grow deep before the tree ever breaks the soil. You can't see progress yet, but you can feel it building. Stillness teaches control. It trains you to channel your energy rather than scatter it. You conserve power for when it truly counts. While others burn out chasing everything, you prepare to strike with precision. One silent move, executed at the right moment, can outweigh 1,000 loud attempts. There's strength in waiting without withdrawing. True stillness is active. It's a state of conscious readiness. You're not frozen, you're focused. Every thought, every plan, every adjustment is fine-tuning your launch. When the moment arrives, you won't react, you'll release. Stillness is where courage grows. It's where you stop outsourcing confidence and start generating it internally. When you can stay calm in uncertainty, you prove to yourself that your stability isn't dependent on circumstances. That self-control becomes your superpower. The mind rebels against stillness because it craves certainty, but those who learn to quiet their minds gain mastery over their environment. You start realizing that not every problem needs immediate fixing, not every noise needs answering. Some battles are won by waiting for the right opening. Before every breakthrough, there's a stretch of doubt so heavy it feels permanent. That's the test. The universe always goes silent before the shift, as if asking, will you still believe without proof? Those who say yes, who stay still but steady, become the ones whose rise feels unstoppable. In stillness, you build clarity. You start distinguishing what's urgent from what's important. You detach from chaos and connect with direction. You're no longer reacting, you're designing, and that design becomes your breakthrough blueprint. The stillness before success humbles you. It reminds you that control isn't about force, it's about trust. You learn to flow instead of fight, to align instead of push. When everything finally falls into place, it feels effortless, but only because you endured the silence. The pause before the breakthrough isn't empty, it's full of potential. The same energy that feels like frustration today becomes momentum tomorrow. What you think is stillness is actually compression, condensing your focus until it's strong enough to shatter barriers. Those who honor stillness never chase opportunities, they create them. They understand that when you're calm enough to see clearly, you move with divine timing. Their breakthroughs seem sudden, but they're simply the natural consequence of quiet readiness. Stillness is not retreat, it's readiness disguised as peace. You don't stop moving forward, you just start moving inward. You sharpen the unseen tools, patience, clarity, composure. When the world rushes, you breathe. And when the moment finally arrives, your calm becomes your catalyst. Every revolution begins in silence. Every breakthrough starts with stillness. You may not hear the progress, but it's happening beneath the surface, reshaping you for what's next. When your moment comes, you'll move effortlessly, not because it's easy, but because you've mastered the quiet before the storm. That's the power of stillness before the breakthrough. Vision doesn't always announce itself with fireworks. It often operates quietly, beneath the surface, weaving direction through every small choice you make. When vision works in the background, it becomes the silent force guiding your every step, even when you feel lost. It doesn't shout for attention. It whispers through intuition, patience, and persistence. The unseen guidance of a clear vision shapes your destiny before the results ever appear. You may not always feel your vision working, but it never stops. It's there when you doubt, when you pause, when you start over again. Like a pulse beneath the noise of life, it beats steadily, drawing you closer to what you're meant to build. The key is to trust it, even when progress seems invisible. Vision doesn't fade in silence. It fortifies. When your vision operates quietly, it aligns your habits long before it manifests your success. Every decision, every sacrifice, every moment of restraint becomes a small vote for the person you're becoming. You're not driven by reaction, you're anchored by purpose. Even when life feels random, your unseen blueprint keeps you moving towards something greater. The beauty of vision is that it doesn't demand attention to function. While others chase trends, you stay aligned. While the world gets distracted by noise, your focus keeps working in the background, connecting the dots that will one day make sense. True vision doesn't need constant confirmation. It creates certainty through consistency. When you let vision work quietly, you stop forcing outcomes. You learn to flow with timing instead of fighting it. Vision builds bridges that can't yet be seen, turning setbacks into redirections. What feels like delay often becomes divine alignment, your plan syncing perfectly with the moment you're meant to rise. Vision operating in the background is like software running silently while you work. You may not see it, but it's calculating, updating, improving your path in ways you don't yet understand. The conscious mind doubts, but the subconscious vision stays loyal. It keeps steering your energy toward fulfillment, no matter how many times you stumble. The quiet worker of vision doesn't rush the process because they know it's alive even in stillness. Like roots growing underground, the unseen work of vision strengthens your foundation before showing its bloom. You're being built for something that can't survive in haste. It requires depth, and depth takes time. Vision whispers clarity in moments of chaos. It doesn't always speak in words. Sometimes it comes as a pull, a feeling, a certainty that doesn't need explanation. It's that subtle knowing that tells you to keep going, even when logic says, stop. Those who learn to listen to that quiet guidance end up building what noise could never sustain. When vision works in the background, your failures become feedback. You stop labeling them as losses and start seeing them as recalibrations. The unseen intelligence of your purpose redirects you, teaching lessons that achievement alone never could. Every detour becomes data, shaping your next move with quiet precision. A silent vision is powerful because it's immune to external interference. No one can sabotage what they don't understand. While others reveal their plans too early and lose momentum, you protect your process by letting your vision operate behind the scenes. You're not hiding, you're preserving what's sacred until it's ready. Vision working quietly builds endurance. It allows you to work without needing proof, to trust progress even when it's invisible. You stop living from reaction and start living from intention. Each step forward, no matter how small, becomes a declaration that you believe in what's forming even before you see it. There's freedom in letting vision lead silently. You no longer need to convince anyone of where you're going. The path becomes personal, sacred, and clear only to you. Others may not see the destination, but they'll feel your certainty. That quiet confidence becomes its own kind of power. Vision's background work refines your patience. It reminds you that success built too quickly collapses just as fast. You learn to enjoy the process, to value preparation more than presentation. Vision isn't about being seen, it's about being guided, molded, and prepared for the moment you're meant to emerge. Even when doubt clouds your thinking, vision remains your constant. It doesn't fade with emotion or circumstance. It adapts. It quietly adjusts your direction, ensuring you end up exactly where you belong, even if the route looks nothing like what you imagined. That's the unseen wisdom of true purpose. When vision moves in silence, you become unshakable. You don't panic when plans shift because you trust the larger design. The background process is working even in uncertainty, transforming chaos into alignment. You stop forcing control and start flowing with conviction. Vision doesn't always look like progress, it often looks like patience. The time you spend refining, resting, or reevaluating isn't wasted. It's part of the construction. The unseen moments are when your spirit calibrates to your calling. When you finally move, you move in sync with something far greater than yourself. You realize that your vision doesn't need validation because it's already real within you. The world just hasn't caught up yet. So you continue to build, quietly, faithfully, knowing that what's unseen today will be undeniable tomorrow. That quiet belief is the mark of mastery. Letting vision work in the background protects you from burnout. You're not constantly proving you're progressing. You understand that creation isn't always visible. Sometimes it's energetic. Every thought, every disciplined act, every silent decision feeds your future reality. You're not waiting, you're aligning. And when the breakthrough finally appears, people will call it sudden. They'll see the product, not the process, the vision made visible. But you'll know it wasn't sudden at all. It was years of unseen alignment, working quietly, patiently, faithfully behind the scenes, bringing everything into place exactly when it was meant to be. When vision works in the background, you stop chasing destiny, you start living it. You trust the unseen process as much as the visible progress. And when the time comes, your results don't just appear. They arrive with authority, shaped by the power of purpose that never stopped working, even when you couldn't see it. True power doesn't need to perform, it simply exists. It doesn't crave attention or validation because its strength is self-contained. Power without performance is quiet confidence, the kind that fills a room without a single word. It's authority rooted in preparation, discipline, and depth. You don't need to prove your strength when you've already built it from within. The world mistakes noise for power. It praises display over depth, performance over purpose. But real power has no desire to be seen. It only desires to be effective. It's the energy that controls outcomes without seeking control. When you reach this level of composure, you stop chasing influence and start embodying it. Power that performs is temporary, it depends on an audience. But power that is cultivated in silence endures. You become grounded, steady, unshakable. You don't need applause because your validation comes from mastery, not attention. That's the difference between impression and impact. One fades, the other lasts. When you live with inner power, your presence speaks for you. People feel it before they understand it. It's not in your words, it's in your stillness, your calm, your certainty. You no longer need to announce who you are. The way you carry yourself tells the story. That is power refined, not performed. Power without performance is the ability to hold your energy instead of leaking it. You stop reacting to every provocation, stop proving every doubt wrong. You learn that restraint is a higher form of strength. Real kings and queens don't argue their worth, they move with it. This kind of power comes from mastery, not mimicry. It's built through repetition, failure, reflection, and patience. You don't have to show off what's already evident in your results. Your consistency becomes your introduction. Your silence becomes your statement. When you stop performing, you start conserving. The energy once wasted on appearances becomes fuel for progress. You realize that not every battle deserves your participation. Some things are best defeated by not reacting at all. Power grows when it's preserved, not when it's displayed. There's an elegance in subtle dominance. You lead not by demanding attention, but by commanding respect through action. Your focus shifts from being seen to being solid. People follow your example, not your performance. The louder they try to compete, the quieter your influence becomes, and the stronger it resonates. Power without performance doesn't depend on visibility. It thrives on authenticity. You no longer craft an image, you embody integrity. The external noise fades because the internal foundation is unshakable. You stop being swayed by perception and start being guided by principle. Silence becomes your amplifier. When you speak, it matters, because you don't speak to fill space, you speak to shape it. The fewer words you use, the more weight they carry. That's what happens when your power comes from presence, not performance. The most powerful people aren't those who seek the stage, they're the ones who make the stage relevant. Their influence is quiet but undeniable. They don't compete for spotlight. They become the source of light itself. They win not through spectacle, but through substance. Power built without performance becomes unbothered by recognition. You realize you don't need to prove you're powerful, you just need to stay aligned with purpose. Recognition becomes irrelevant because your mission is bigger than validation. Your satisfaction shifts from applause to impact. When you stop performing, you start seeing clearly. The illusion fades, and the truth appears. You understand that trying to look powerful only exposes your weakness. True strength is invisible until it's necessary, and when it shows, it doesn't ask permission, it asserts itself. Power without performance is peace under pressure. It's the ability to stay composed when chaos erupts. You don't react, you respond. You don't rush, you move precisely. The storm may rage around you, but inside, you're still, and that stillness becomes your advantage. The quiet strength within you doesn't seek validation because it already knows its worth. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to refine rather than prove. You outlast the noise because your power isn't built on external energy, it's powered by inner conviction. To possess true power is to be immune to the need for performance. You no longer perform for approval, validation, or comparison. You act from clarity, not ego. This detachment makes you untouchable because your purpose isn't dependent on being seen, it's anchored in being sure. There's something magnetic about power that doesn't beg for attention. It's felt, not flaunted. People are drawn to your calm, your certainty, your balance. That's the paradox of quiet power. The less you try to show it, the more it shows itself. Power without performance transforms how you approach life. You no longer compete, you create. You no longer chase, you attract. You stop wasting energy on perception and start investing it into precision. This shift turns ambition into alignment and effort into effortless influence. You reach a point where silence becomes your crown. You don't need to speak loudly or move quickly. Your results, your consistency, your presence speak for you. Every move is intentional, every action rooted in strength. You've mastered what others are still trying to perform. True power isn't about proving, it's about being. It's the quiet authority that doesn't need performance to be believed. The world feels it, even if it can't define it. You've evolved beyond validation into embodiment. That's the essence of real mastery power, without performance. Preparation is the quietest form of power. It doesn't seek attention, it doesn't demand recognition, it simply ensures you're ready when the world isn't. When you're truly prepared, noise loses its influence. Distractions fade because your focus is anchored in readiness. You don't need luck when you've already built certainty through preparation. The unprepared are shaken by noise. The prepared are sharpened by it. When chaos erupts, most people react, but you've already rehearsed the storm. Preparation turns uncertainty into opportunity, confusion into clarity. You no longer hope for the best, you're built for the worst. That's the quiet confidence of someone who's done the unseen work. Being prepared isn't about paranoia, it's about peace. It's knowing that no matter what happens, you've fortified your foundation. You've studied, practiced, and refined your craft until execution becomes instinct. The world can scream around you, but your internal rhythm stays untouched. That's the advantage of those who move from readiness, not reaction. Preparation is the armor that noise can't penetrate. It makes you immune to doubt because you've already faced your fears in practice. You've failed privately enough times to know how to win publicly. When others panic, you perform. When they guess, you execute. Your calm is the loudest statement you'll ever make. The prepared don't chase opportunity, they anticipate it. They build systems that allow success to find them. They know that chance favors those who stayed disciplined when no one was watching. Every unseen hour of repetition turns into a shield against uncertainty. Noise can't break someone who's already battle-tested in silence. When you're prepared, you no longer compete with others. You compete with your own potential. You stop reacting to trends or opinions because your focus is internal. The external noise becomes background static while you stay locked on your mission. That clarity is the superpower of the well-prepared. Preparation teaches humility. You realize success isn't luck, it's logistics. It's the culmination of thousands of quiet choices, studying when tired, refining when unmotivated, showing up when unnoticed. Those small efforts compound into an unstoppable advantage. The louder others talk, the deeper you build. Noise thrives on distraction, but preparation thrives on consistency. Every day you train your focus, you weaken the pull of chaos. You no longer get thrown off by criticism or applause because you've already rehearsed discipline. The world's noise becomes irrelevant when you've already heard every version of doubt in your own head and overcome it. Being prepared doesn't mean predicting everything. It means adapting to anything. It's flexibility wrapped in confidence. You've trained for the unpredictable, so surprises don't shake you, they reveal your readiness. The prepared don't fear the unknown. They welcome it as another stage to apply their mastery. Noise only affects those who are uncertain. When you've done the work, opinions stop mattering. You don't need validation. When you have verification, your skill, your knowledge, your readiness are proof enough. You don't argue your value. You demonstrate it through consistent precision. Preparation sharpens your instincts until they become second nature. You start moving with confidence that seems effortless to others. They call it talent, but it's simply repetition refined into reflex. The noise fades because your preparation speaks louder than any words ever could. To be prepared is to be untouchable. You stop wasting energy proving your worth because your results do it for you. You walk into every situation calm, centered, and confident, not because it's easy, but because you've already been there mentally 100 times before. Noise can't disrupt someone who's already lived the outcome in their mind. Every moment of preparation is an investment in peace. The hours you dedicate now buy clarity later. You're no longer afraid of challenges because you've already rehearsed resilience. Preparation makes you feel unstoppable, not because you think you can't fail, but because you know you'll rise regardless. The unprepared chase timing, the prepared create it. They're never waiting for the right moment, they make every moment right through readiness. While others rely on motivation, they rely on structure. That's why their progress looks effortless. It's built on invisible discipline. Noise becomes irrelevant when your focus becomes internal. You stop reacting to every comment, every trend, every criticism. Instead, you move like someone guided by something bigger purpose. Preparation gives you the clarity to differentiate between what deserves your attention and what deserves your silence. When you live prepared, you operate from abundance, not anxiety. You don't rush opportunities because you know more will come. You've built yourself into someone who doesn't need the perfect situation. You can thrive in any situation. That's what makes your confidence unshakable. Preparedness also brings humility. You know how much work it takes to stay sharp, so you never underestimate the grind. You respect the process, the repetition, the small, unglamorous steps that make success inevitable. Noise doesn't excite you because you know the real work is done long before the spotlight turns on. Being prepared allows you to stay patient. You no longer crave quick wins because you understand timing is everything. While others chase instant gratification, you build longevity. Every hour of preparation adds weight to your presence. You're not trying to arrive fast, you're preparing to stay when you do. The difference between those who rise and those who fade is simple preparation. The unprepared crumble under noise. The prepared stand taller because their roots run deeper. They don't just survive chaos, they perform through it. Their calm becomes contagious, their precision undeniable. To be so prepared that noise becomes irrelevant is the ultimate mastery. You've done the work so thoroughly that distractions can't touch you. You no longer flinch at uncertainty or crave reassurance. You've earned your confidence through repetition, patience, and quiet consistency. The world may be loud, but you remain unmoved because you're not listening for noise. You're listening for the signal, and you've already tuned into it. Success doesn't end with noise. It concludes with presence. You don't need to shout when your work speaks in echoes that travel further than words ever could. Asterisk. Master the art of unseen success. Times isn't about vanishing. It's about becoming so composed, so prepared, and so precise that the world feels your impact before it understands your journey. The true reward of the unseen path is transformation. You evolve from needing to prove into simply being. Every quiet effort, every still moment, every invisible decision was never wasted. It was building the version of you that no longer needs the crowd to know your worth. Now, you walk differently, not louder, but lighter. The noise fades behind you because it never defined you. What remains is mastery born in silence, power formed in patience, and success that arrives without permission or performance. The world will see the glow, but only you will know the fire it came from. That is the art of unseen success, to rise quietly and to stay unshakably loud without ever saying a word.